excited down here?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go for it.
Big crowd.
To call to order the March 25th meeting of the Campbell County School Board. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. We'll open with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Cheers. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Matters from the floor. We have one gentleman signed up tonight, Mr. Eric. I apologize for attempting Zandig.
Zanzig.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Before you start, would you just give us your name and your address, and then you'll
Yeah,
have 3 minutes to speak.
Sure, Eric Zanzik, I'm in the Rustburg district. I would hope I may get an extra minute or two given the light crowd here tonight, so, but I'll still try to be on time here for the 3 minutes. I did want to first, before I got started, thank Ms. McClanahan and Ms. Hunley. They got me a bunch of budget details and answered some of the questions I had, and they were very helpful and responsive, so I wanted to thank them first. And Mr. Phillips, I had a few questions on the programmatic changes that were mentioned about Tomahawk Elementary, and he gave me a very detailed and thorough response for that, so I very much appreciate that communication as well from Mr. Phillips. I was looking at a lot at our budget and everything that was put together here for FY25, and first thing I wanted to look at, I know I've heard from, I think a couple different times from members of the board that our teacher pay is competitive, and so I hadn't done research on that before, so I did that for the first time, and looked at our website, at the pay scales and all the other, the surrounding counties, and so Campbell, for the entry-level lowest step new teacher for Campbell is $45,000, and then Bedford, they're a little bit higher at $45,500, and then I saw that Amherst, Appomattox, and Lynchburg are at $47,000. So we're, on average, when you take all that together, we're about 4% lower than City of Lynchburg and the surrounding counties, and then if you take the highest pay step, or even more, there's more of a deviation there, we're about 13% lower than everyone else. So I thought that was interesting that not only are we not competitive, but we're not even in the running. We're dead last in terms of teacher pay right now. And so then that's kind of a baseline that I went and looked at our budget, or this FY25 budget, to see what that looked like. And it didn't seem like there was much correction for that. For the year-over-year expenses that were noted and increases that were given for this fiscal 25, administrative and classified staff compensation increased 5%. While compensation for teachers' position was only increasing 4% year over year. For example, we had social workers there increasing 62% with raises and a new position, clerical staff 18%, warehouse staff 13%, but our elementary, middle, and high school teachers are only getting a 4% increase year over year. So I just felt like those were misplaced priorities, and I wanted to point that out here tonight. But it definitely wasn't exclusive just to this budget. It's been a trend for many years since, if you look back even from FY21 until this budget, compensation for administrative and classified staff positions has gone up 39% compared to teacher positions, which is just 31%. So there's quite a significant difference there. And I think correcting this and prioritizing teachers would be particularly helpful, given that our middle school SOL scores are ranked 79 out of 130 for the whole state, and high school scores are ranked 82 out of around 130. I actually think it's 132 for the whole state. So that puts our schools around the bottom third when compared to the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. So there's a lot of work to be done on that front. And even if you look at just the surrounding counties of Amherst, Appomattox, and Bedford, our middle school scores are below them, and high school, we're about the average. But middle school is below City of Lynchburg, obviously, but the counties more particularly. So yeah, just overall looking at the budget, I mean, over the last 5 years, the spending has increased 30%, around 30%, and it's mostly because it seemed like some of the expenditures, which were initially related to COVID and that whole phase, which definitely spiked our spending, but most of the increased expenditures were typically couched as being temporary. And this budget here has 6 positions moving from temporary grant funds to now our permanent operating budget. And while we know that these positions, they're likely doing good work for our schools, but it's an obvious example of how rarely is these grant funds typically free money as it's usually described. It usually does move into the operating budget, as a lot has in this instance here. So just my very last point here. It's been mentioned by members of this board. I've heard more recently that we are not becoming dependent on temporary grant funds or COVID relief money, but this budget, it's definitely clear that is what has happened in some instances. So I felt like that was worth pointing out and worthy of caution going forward. So, but I very much appreciate y'all giving us the time to comment and look at the budget and let you know our feedback. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, the first order of business tonight is the approval of the March 11th meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Maddox, that we approve the March 11th meeting minutes. Any questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Consideration for adopting the new budget. Dr. Stanley.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, 2 weeks ago, I came to you and brought a proposed FY 25-26, 24-25 budget. And in that budget, it included a 3% raise. It also included an increase in health insurance, property and auto insurance, increases for estimated fuel costs and utilities, as well as some positions that were just noted. Some of those positions are going to be required to fill through the Literacy Act, and some of those are federal positions, and one is a VPI behavioral coach. Tonight, I would ask that you pass the budget as proposed.
Does anybody, excuse me, does anybody have any questions about the budget for Dr. Stanley or Michelle?
Can I say one question that I heard,
Sure.
you know, we've talked about a few times in the last few days, is something that Mr. Sanjic brought up, and that's the percentage difference for some of our employees and what you see in the budget. And I think the best way to explain that, and Michelle, you correct me if I get it wrong, but last November, we approved to have a 2% pay increase. And we took that money from the 2% pay increase and put it into our budget. We put it into it in broad categories. At the end of this school year, when we start to shore things up, that 2% plus a 3% proposed increase for next year impacted different lines differently. So some lines got a 4%, some lines got a 5% increase. However, it was to ensure that we got a 2% increase this year and a 3% increase moving forward. So to sum it up, even though different lines got increased funding, everybody has got the same 5% increase going back to last December to next year's budget. So that's all the same, even though it took different amounts to get us there.
Does everybody understand that? Yes.
I just wanted to, I asked Michelle, and I asked if she would share it with the board. I had questions on how the All-in Virginia was going to show up in the budget. It was a one-time chunk of money, but we're putting it out for 3 years, and I just had questions how it would be budgeted, and I asked if she would share it with the board.
Right, so this year, the state gave us the All-in Virginia money, and it was $3.4 million. So the entire $3.4 million was budgeted in FY '24's budget. At the end of this year, when we close out the books, we'll do what's called a carry forward encumbrance. And whatever we didn't spend, which will be approximately $2 million, because we budgeted roughly $1 million per year of the 3 years, whatever's to go forward, we will carry that forward on the books and bring a supplemental appropriation to reappropriate it for FY '25 for the remaining 2 years, and then in FY '26 we'll do whatever's left for the remaining 1 year. Sort of how we do with the federal funds each year.
Any more questions?
don't think I had any. Dr. Stanley and I had a conversation earlier today that clarified a few questions I had, so I think he referenced Michelle on a few of those as well, so appreciate you guys giving me that feedback earlier today on those questions. So.
You're welcome.
And just an overall thanks to Michelle, period, for all of our questions,
And all the crew.
on all the answers.
Yeah, all the crew that goes into this. I mean, it's a lot of details.
All right, if there's no more questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, seconded by Mr. Phillips, that we approve the proposed budget for 24-25. Any questions? If none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
You got any more stuff to report on?
Well, I just want to encourage our teachers to finish strong and then enjoy their break next week. Have a happy Easter and enjoy their spring break. I know everybody's appreciative for the calendar change and making April the 8th a teacher work day, so they can enjoy their break, come back that Monday and plan for the remainder of the school year. And in the meantime, we have a curriculum committee who will be meeting to discuss resources as part of the Literacy Act and what we're going to use for literacy moving forward. So that's going to be a big day for our county. And then I want to remind Ms. Tanner and Mr. Jones that we have a joint committee meeting on April the 9th, and that'll be at Brookville High School at 6 o'clock.
April 9th at 6 o'clock
6 o'clock, Brookville High
in
School.
the library?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. Ms. Parker?
Well, thank you.
Anything for the board?
Yes, I want to say that the VSBA event in Appomattox was great, and everyone was there, so that's awesome. Our whole board was represented, and I did not watch Dr. Stanley's presentation on the Learning Academy, but I'm sure it was awesome. Actually, it was really great. I was pleased to see all the different school boards that were there from our local area, and the little micro groups, I don't even know what to call them, the little micro classes, whatever that we took. I kind of hand selected some that I know have very poor graduation scores and went to see what their good news was. And just like anything else, there was a little bit of nugget of something that could work for us to, improve our schools as well. Just some really cool little things and some great presentations. Also the career day here, Mr. Hardy, thank you so much for that. I didn't even get a chance to chat with you. I got to the second table and got stuck. I literally never got out of the first room. Was here for the last couple hours, and it was great though when I did get around to the different tables and did speak to the different employers. They had full sheets, if not 2 sheets, of kids that signed up for follow-up with the employers. So I thought that was awesome, as always. Miss Wilson, if she's listening. And also wanted to let everyone here know, I did say something to Miss Hunley already, but my friends in Bedford Politics and School Board are telling me that we need to appreciate our personnel department for getting Mr. Wilson, and they're very upset with us for taking him to work in Mr. Sisk's place. So that was kind of cool. Everywhere I went, they're like, "You took Mr. Wilson," and compliments to our personnel department for doing that. And lastly, I spoke to the Political Science Club at Brookville on Friday morning about upcoming elections, how they can get involved. I'm always so blown away, right, from the group that comes to talk to us. Do you know that they have registered over 60 kids to vote at Brookville High School seniors, and over 30 of them voted on Super Tuesday for the presidential primary? So just thought that was awesome, and that's all I have.
Dr. Miller?
Yeah, I don't have a lot, I really thought that VSBA, we don't go to a lot of the regional meetings, but the ones that we've been to, I really thought that format was the best one I've been to. And those little breakout sessions were, the ones I went to were very, very good. I'm really glad that Campbell County also had wanted to share. So it was a great venue. The food was great, and it was good. The other thing I'd like to say, I did go to the program that Ms. Tanner put on down at William Campbell. Very impressive. Unfortunately, it was not well attended. I mean, it just boggles my mind. But an excellent program, well presented, and since it was such a small group of us, we had excellent conversations afterwards. Amy Witt was there, and several other people, Ms. Hanson. It was a good it was very good, and I appreciate you,
Thank you.
doing that for our county. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Tanner, you'll go.
I got a chance on Friday with Paul Dowdy, our Sunburst District Board of Supervisors representative, to come visit the early college kids here from CBCC and talk about their local government class and have a conversation about, well, what does the school board do? And we were both like, we're new, but this is what we know we do. And that's kind of the conversation that we had. But it was great. We had a good hour, 15-minute conversation with the kids who had some really interesting conversations, and it was fun to be around, embarrass my son a little bit. He's in that class as well. It was enjoyable to just mortify him, if nothing else. But it was really good to hear their questions and what some of their concerns were just from a local government standpoint, both between the schools and both with what they had asked Paul on what's coming up and what do they do if they don't like something? How is their voice really heard? And so it was a good opportunity for us to assure them that we do listen to what they're concerned about, and we work our best to try to address those issues. So it's a great conversation, and I echo with our meeting mathematics. That was wonderful. I agree.
Good. Ms. Ball?
There are lots of spring sports going on. I can't even list them all because there's so many: baseball, softball, soccer, tennis, all of the above. Leesville Road is having a career day on April 9th, and thank you to all the volunteers who volunteered to participate in that, and also thank you to Ms. Keese and Ms. Breeden for working so hard to get all of that put together. That's going to be really great for our students. And congratulations to the BHS Audition Choir for receiving an Excellence 2 rating at the District Choir Assessment. And congrats to all the BHS track athletes that competed at Indoor Track Nationals. And there is also a Family Fun Day on April 13th from 1 to 3 p.m. at Timbrook Park. And this will be open to students in the English language learners programs, Title I reading support programs, pre-K and early childhood special education programs. There will be scavenger hunts, book walks, sensory play areas, popsicles, and other fun activities.
Ms. Phillips?
Yeah, I want to recognize Dr. Whitney Ranella. She has been selected by WFXR News as one of the remarkable women candidates for 2024. It's one of 4, so best of luck for her. Congratulations to her being a finalist on that in that contest. So we'll see if she ends up being the big winner for that here in the coming weeks. Mr. Zanzik, thank you for attending tonight and your review of the budget. I share some of your concerns. This is the budget we voted on tonight was based off of a conservative estimate of the funds we're getting from the state. So hopefully we'll be able to make another run at it and get some additional funding, particularly for some of our teachers. So we'll have to see what kind of funds we get from the state on that. But this is a good start we have tonight, so hopefully we'll be able to do more going forward through the budgetary process. So I may have had something else. Just thanks to Michelle, you and your team for pulling together the budget, all the hard work you guys put into this. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And I echo the comments of my fellow board members at the end of the table on the VSBA regional meeting. It was a good meeting, and really good effort by Appomattox to put that on and show off their new school. So we look forward to doing the same at Rustburg Middle next year. So that's all I had. Over to you, Gary.
Thank you. I also attended Ms. Tanner's program at Altus Combined School, and I was amazed. To be honest with you. That ball of water is,
Yeah, I know. I talk about the water everywhere I go.
and it's a shame,
Y'all are
like
gonna
what
find
Dr.
one on your
Miller said, we had very little attendance. And that's a shame, because it's a great program. I'd like to thank Mr. Hardy for Career Day and the Campbell County Educational Foundation who fed breakfast to the vendors. I think they do that every year.
Awesome.
And the regional meeting in Appomattox, I've been on here a while, it's been one of the better ones we've had.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can do better with it next year. That's all I've got.
I think y'all covered everything except one thing. The Southern Region meeting, I thought was very, very good, but nobody mentioned how good the food was. 'Cause most times we go to it and the food is absolutely not good. But the food was excellent.
Yeah, because their culinary folks did it there, right? For their tech center culinary. The kids made it for us.
I think they did
The Appomattox kids.
They did the hors d'oeuvres.
I don't think
Oh,
they
the hors
did.
d'oeuvres, okay.
We're tied in, I hope, to where it came from. But anyway, that was really good. And the little mini sessions were really, really good. It was just so much going on in a small area. It was kind of hard to hear. But I went to the one Halifax did, and it was very interesting where they brought the health and medical exploratory program into the middle school, and that was very interesting to me. And then expanded on into the the high school levels. But that was very interesting, and maybe something we need to look into. And I guess, Ms. Tanner, it seems to be like everybody said your program was great. Not many people came. Maybe we need to look at a means of getting people there for you to, because every parent needs to see that
They do.
presentation.
I
Now,
will do it again.
I don't know how we can help you get, the crowd there, but parents need to see it, so.
Some parents, it almost needs to be mandatory.
Well, and the career fair, it was extraordinary, and I'll mention it again at the next meeting, but Ms. Wilson, Mr. Hardy, just a great effort. And I think if there's some way we can provide these businesses or individuals that are here to, say, juniors and sophomores, just so they got some idea who may be pursuing them in the coming years, just to throw a senior in here on that day and say, go see what you can find, it's overwhelming. I mean, just me walking through, it's just overwhelming just looking at all the different tables. So it's just an extraordinary event. And I mean, my hat's off to you for getting all of those businesses, local business. And, I hated to walk by the Marines doing pull-ups and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, it was very impressive. Dr. Stanley, Michelle, thanks for all your work on the budget. Spring break, I hope everybody has a great time. The extra day on spring break didn't work out too good for me. I got to babysit 2 boys now on that day, so. But other than that, it's good. So I hope everybody has a great time and stays safe. Anything else? Nothing? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion-
Second.
Did you say?
We both seconded, yeah.
Motion by Mr. Phillips, second by Ms. Vaughn. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.